Hello, hello, happy Wednesday, and welcome back to another episode 131, Joe, of Electricpreneur Secrets, the Electricians Podcast. Who are we? We are the Electricpreneurs. You're the Electricpreneur if you're listening. If you're an electrician and you own a business, you're an Electricpreneur. So thank you for joining us. I'm Clay Newmeyer. This is Joseph, the sales bot Lucani. We're just a couple of master electricians with business addictions here to serve you at the highest level and help you serve your clients at the highest level. So as we say every day of the week, all 5 that we come here to help you, we're here to help you master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. I elongated that one, Joe, but how are you doing today, more importantly?
Honestly, today is one of those good days. Have you ever woken up and you're like, I'm ready to kick today's ass until all next week? That's really where I'm
Yes.
at. I really feel like where we're headed in our direction is great. I feel like we're really able to help a ton of people, and that motivates me to keep wanting to do what we do.
Love that. Good spirits. Because sometimes I also wake up feeling like I am ready to have today kick my ass.
Yeah, honestly, if I can tell you a secret,
Yeah.
I feel like that every morning. The thing is, it's the conscious routines that we take that actually make you feel better. Like when you listen to the voice messages I was sending this morning, I was on the treadmill at 5 a.m. replying to messages and going through it. But after I've done those events and after I've done those conscious activities, now the day better watch out for me, not me watching out for the day.
Ah, nice flip. I love that. And I love your dedication to the morning routine. We actually did a podcast on this a ways back, but it's so important to be prepared and actually plan your outcome for the day instead of letting the day decide your outcome.
Yeah.
How
Amen to that.
important. How important. Joe, I've got an exciting evening. My oldest
Exciting evening.
daughter's
Oh, tell me.
flying
What
into
do you got for
town.
me?
Yeah, my oldest daughter's flying into town, so we're going to spend the week together. She's been out in the north for a while, and I'm not with her. So it's a pumped week for me. I get to come here, be happy at work every morning, and spend the afternoons with her and the weekend with her. So really
I'm
excited
so
about
happy
that.
for you, man.
Yeah,
I'm really,
thanks,
really
man.
happy. I know that sure she's looking forward to seeing you as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually had about 10 days kid free here. I know that must be crazy for you to even think
The
about, but my stepdaughter was
10
also at the in-laws on an island for about 10 days.
I honestly feel like if I had 10 days kid free, I love my kids, but if I had 10 days kid free, I honestly think I'd build like a time machine or something. Like I don't know what I would do with that amount of free time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we got lots done, and we did some little birthday celebrations on the weekend. Tomorrow is my birthday. Did you know that?
I did. I even sent you something. It's right next to you, buddy.
Oh
Come
yeah,
on.
right. Yeah, let me look over this thing. It says Mr. President Clay Newmeyer.
Amen to that.
Thanks for the gift, man. That's hilarious. I
Well,
put
well,
my hat on it and I haven't opened it yet because it reminds me of just how important I am. I almost like not opening it unless the inside says Mr. President too.
the inside's pretty nice. I had something custom made for you.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, without further ado, how about we help some people? How about we help some electrician with some options again today?
I am so down. You know how much I love options. It gets me tickled pink every minute.
It's Action Wednesday, Joe. Every
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, we're giving away a value piece to help electricians, right? So today is that day. It's the middle of the week. What better day than to give away that value piece? What is a value piece, first and foremost? If people haven't got one yet, they ought to know, what are we talking about?
So, a value piece is something that we want you to have that we believe would give you enough value that you'd be able to take it and get a win from it. Even if you didn't listen to us, even if you didn't follow us, we believe that if we give you enough information to win, you're going to want more wins. So, it's just a way of not only putting out the good that we want to see in the universe, but also facilitating it so it can also come back. It's a win
Definitely.
win for everyone.
Definitely. I love that. And today's value piece is 6 option secrets. So if you guys haven't seen that one yet, you can actually comment on the VIP chat right now, or you can go to our website, grab the contact us form, and send a message that says 6 option secret. Our website is serviceloopelectrical.com. And of course, the VIP we're talking about is on the Facebook Electricpreneur Secrets group. So we're happy to help you with that. And in this value piece, Joe, there's some good stuff
Mm-hmm.
talking about rules of buyer psychology,
Mhm.
building a case and observations, which is a huge piece that I would love to talk about a bit today to help people
Okay.
stick to their options and in a way that's building value for clients like they've never done before.
I'm game, man. Throw the questions my way. I'm ready to charge up and knock them out.
Sure. And then we even go into options design and some Q&A stuff to really help guys take what we're giving on the podcast, have now a visual representation like a list, a checklist almost, if you would, to be able to go out and use for their own business, for their own growth,
Mhm.
for your own sales. So we started the week talking about some of the reasons why we'd go 6 options, some of the reasons you ought to have options to begin with. Um,
Mhm.
they're important, right? Really important
Mhm.
stuff. Then Tuesday, we really went into this problem solution benefit, the fears around presenting
Mhm.
options. So today, let's get right into it. Now, Joe, if you recall, we were talking about what about the people that don't want the options in the first place?
Mm.
What
That's
should
a
we
funny
do
thing.
then?
Okay. So there's an easy answer to this, and there's a little more complicated one. I'd happily give both.
All right.
The easy one, STYO. You made options, stick to your options. Like that's the obvious first answer you would take, right? But that's an easy way out. So I want to also go into a little more depth as to what to do in those
Yep.
circumstances. When a client says, I don't want options, I don't believe that they're telling the truth because no one ever says, I'm not interested in knowing how to make my home safer, more comfortable, more reliable, more convenient for all of us, better designed for our family needs. Like, I can't see someone saying, you know what? Can you please put me in the box as the same box that my neighbor has because we're the exact same people with no differences?
Mm-hmm.
People aren't going to say that. What they are saying is they've equated options to sales. And what they're saying is, I don't want options, is I don't want to be sold something I don't feel I need. And that's really not a problem. People need to know that they have the right to ask us that. But at the same time, it's also unethical to not give them options. So it almost puts you in this catch 22, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Definitely. And I know we deep dive on that a bit yesterday as well.
Mhm.
Let's go a little further down this path now. What if, and you know what? No, let's start with the observations. What
Okay.
makes the way we do observations different than the average electrician does their observations
Mhm.
to build options off of?
Okay. So there's a lot that goes into it, primarily that we're out of trade jargon brain. Because speaking from electrician to electrician, we have so much trade knowledge, so much schooling, so much logical programming that goes into what we do that we sometimes forget that not everyone understands the same thing that we do. We assume that it's all natural. This is obvious stuff, common sense, if you would. I know we made an
Mm,
episode on common sense, and forgive me if I don't remember the exact episode number, but it's a great one to listen back to.
yeah.
But they don't understand what's happening. So instead, what we do is we describe things in easily understandable terms that apply to what the system is doing rather than what it's officially called. So instead of saying you have burning in your bus of your Challenger panel on the A phase lug, they don't know what the fuck you're saying. We would say we've detected there's a current fire hazard in your main electrical control system, or there's a preliminary signs of a fire hazard in your main electrical control system. And that would make a lot more sense to someone who's never seen anything than you start talking about the busing. People don't know what busing is. They don't know what terminals are. So why are we talking about things that don't make sense to them?
Loosen people in the complexity of the language
Correct.
and the technicalities, which is
Mhm.
a bad place to lose people. I love
Exactly.
that you used this one word that was so powerful, and really the word's understanding.
Mhm.
And right up here in my notes from 6 Option Secrets, I've got to serve better, we need to understand better.
Mhm.
We've got
100,000%.
2 ears and 1 mouth. And we know that listening is maybe the most challenging skill that humans try to conquer. We're
Mhm.
actually awful listeners, Joe. We're not good at it, but it is a skill that can be trained.
Can I add to being a bad listener to an example?
Please.
There are so many people, and if you're out there listening to this, I want to speak directly to you. Because have you ever felt that you're listening with a response already ready to go and you're just waiting for them to stop so you can interject what you're saying? That's how objections happen. That root cause of this person isn't listening to me because they're not hearing me, even though they're answering what I'm saying. When you can understand, that goes beyond I hear you. That's I understand what you're trying to say. And now I'm going to give you a specific response based on what you're really trying to communicate. And now that's when the connection can be formed. And if you're already someone they like, trust, and respect, there's no reason why they shouldn't move forward with you. So understanding is the linchpin to what we do.
100%. It's massive. And so if we're able to listen better, and if we're able to build rapport even at an enhanced level, would you say that would improve our chances then of having a more complete observation section built off of things that actually matter to our clients, and B, then make it a presentation of options with less resistance?
Correct. Can I give you an example of how?
Please.
Okay. Every electrician pushes surge protectors. We all do. And that's okay. I'm not knocking it. I love surge protection systems. The problem is that we push it without being able to connect it to how it benefits the customer. We go through and we say, well, every home needs a surge protector. What, are you not going to have it protecting your car? Like, you're not going to have it protect your fridge? It's like, what are you going to do? You got to have it. Okay, that's one way. And maybe the customer will move forward with it. But what if we enhance it even further by saying, hey, Pete, I understand that, you do a lot. You work a hard day. And as a result, your hobby is you like to game. And it would make sense. You have a whole series of vintage games on the wall, and I'm glad you enjoy them. What I wanted to do is in this option, I wanted to include a whole home electronic safety system. Because the last thing I'd ever want you to experience is you're playing during a bad storm or whatever happens, and all these vintage systems you have get damaged where it's very hard to replace or even get consistent parts. That's why I wanted to offer it to you. Would I be wrong to want to do that? Now suddenly that offer goes surge protector to surge protector. It's the same thing in the box. But one guy says, no, I'm not interested. And the other says, I have to have that. Because we had a why, because the because frame was there. That's what makes it so much more powerful.
I love that you tied that one in. Almost every day of the week, an electrician says to me, I've got a team, I'm trying to train them on sales, but I can't get them to offer surge protectors. It's like the go-to option for electricians.
Because it's easy. That's the thing.
Just throw it in there. Hey, you're going to service a house. Why not offer them surge protection?
Odds are they probably don't have it. And we all know, like as electricians, we believe it's worthwhile. Protects your furnace, protects your water heater, your stove, your Tesla, your computers, your Nest thermostat, protects everything, right? And if it doesn't have that protection, now you have the thought of, okay, now you're replacing all these things. Now you've got several days off of work as you're trying to run around and coordinate with contractors. And now you're working with insurance. But for $385, I could put, or screw it, $685. Who cares? I'm going to put the system in. We're going to ensure it's done the right way. And then you have complete peace of mind. It's like an insurance policy. I'll put it in. I hope to God you never need it. Hope it sits there and collects dust. But if you do need it, it's better to look at it than to look for it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I want to shift us forward into something really important. And I believe you had a class on this morning, this week, actually. You're teaching our guys a bit about this. So it seems like a fitting topic.
Okay.
I think one of the reasons why people get fear or get anxiety around presenting options, and especially the way that we do it, is we're trying not to leave the home. We're trying to actually be able to build options in front of them in the situation like a demand call where something's not right today. What would you say to electricians to help alleviate some of that anxiety? Like maybe they can get themselves to the kitchen table and sit with a client, but then with a client looking over them, they're feeling, a shake start. Their
Hmm.
mouth starts to dry up, their palms are sweating. Even as they're writing, they're hoping the homeowner isn't seeing their handshake.
Yeah, there's a lot we can do about that, right? And granted, it depends on how in depth you want to go, because what we were teaching today, like in our class, it was an hour and a half lesson on all the things you can do to control physical sensations and how to best align them without seeming like you're this weird dude in the customer's home.
Mm.
So let's start with the most basics and you tell me when you want me to stop. Is that fair?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Okay. So the first thought is we have to address why you wouldn't want to be at the kitchen table, right? That fear usually stems from you feeling like sales is something you're doing to the client, right? And as a result, you have to hide away where they can't bother you, where they can't
Mm.
look over your shoulder, where they can't ask you questions. Sales isn't something you're doing to someone. Sales is something you do for someone. If you truly believed that what you were offering actually made their lives better, then why wouldn't you want to show them the enthusiasm while you're writing up your proposals? In addition to it, once you leave the customer's home, there's actually a window of time to where the client will stop thinking about the solutions and start thinking about other things. Believe it or not, that's 25 minutes.
Wow.
25 minutes is all it takes for the client to say, I'm going to go do something else. And now when you come back in, you need to reconnect the relationship in addition to going to the presentation, which is a very hard lift to do, especially if the client or the electrician at the time is saying, I gave you information in advance. I mentioned you had a Federal Pacific panel. I mentioned there was some burning in the bus. Now your client has 25 minutes to look up on Google and say, how much should it cost to change a 25? Oh, it's only $1,500. This is great. I can't wait to move in. Maybe he's 2,000. And then we show up for 6,000, they kick us out. So first step, make sure you're in front of the customer. It'll just being there, just physically being at the table will increase your odds. Can I keep going or do you want to make me to
You can,
pause?
man. We've got about another 4 or 5 minutes here. So you feel free to
Okay.
give as much as you need here.
Okay. Second thing then is if people are in a situation where they're feeling anxious, right? We have to understand why. The majority of the why of people feel anxious, like as someone with anxiety, I get it. It can happen for no reason. But in these circumstances, it often happens because we feel that the client will have a negative reaction to the information you're bringing them. When once again, if you were to say, I'm doing this because I want their home to be safer, I'm doing this because I want them to be comfortable, I'm doing this because I want them to have the best of things, or at the very least, have the understanding of what's really going on. That shouldn't be seen as a negative. The customer doesn't know what's going on in the home, and you're the one who does. And if you don't have the integrity to share that information with them, it makes sense that you'd want to hide because you don't believe yourself of why these things are so important. So the second thing is shift the belief to, am I truly doing this for the customer or am I just trying to chase a sale?
And can I just say where I see this in working with you on even the training that we give our clients on the
Mhm,
presentation, like we did a very thorough one last Friday. I
mhm,
love how when we're going through the observations, we're constantly readdressing the client at every point and
mhm,
tying it to their needs, their
mhm,
desires, their problems, and with a question.
mhm,
So again, reverting back to listening, allowing them time and space to justify or confirm that that
mhm,
actually speaks to their problem and allowing them space to ask a question. I do this in our sales process too. And 95% of the time, there's no question, but it does not preclude that I would skip that point ever because
mhm.
it's much more powerful to be a transactional conversation than a one-way communication where they're seeing butterflies and rainbows off to the side.
Mhm.
And that happens easy. I mean, think about the last time, you guys, if you're listening to this right now, if you're watching us live right now, think about the last time you were listening to someone, actually looking at them, but thinking off in La La Land. How
You're
often
right.
does that happen? Go ahead, Joe.
Way too often. But you said something once again. I love that you and I actively listened to each other because you said something that really was important. And it was coming down to the fact of I'm never going to pause and not let them have a question. And the reason why is there's such a psychological concept behind it. If someone has a question, that's almost a wall, a roadblock in their way. Like if you imagine they're on a bike path and it's a smooth sailing path, an objection could be a stick in the way that's just going to be a bump, or it could be a literal speed bump, or it could be an absolute concrete wall. And if you don't remove that problem or that objection before you give them the price, it's going to rear up because the entire time they weren't focused on you. They were focused on trying to remove their own objection in the background. That's when you have the customers with the deer in the headlights look or the
Yeah.
that means that there's something going on inside that we need to be like, so what's on your mind? What's going on here? What are your thoughts on what we're doing so far?
And even to take that a step further, if your observation section was even just 6 to 8 items long, like
Mm-hmm.
one simple sentence that you're going to then introduce to them, remember how you said this? Well, that's why we've made this note here. Or
Mm-hmm.
we've included this in our observations. We feel this needs attention. Remember how you said this? That's why we need that. Do you have any questions on that?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't ask that part and you got further down the list and they had a question, to your credit,
Mm-hmm.
did they hear the rest of the list?
Not a fucking thing.
They didn't hear a
Not a
thing
single
beyond
thing.
the question that they had. They got stuck
Mm-hmm.
right there. They focused on that point, and you would know when you got to the bottom and said, "Do you have any questions overall?" And they might say, "Yeah, back up to the top of the list there. Back up to that top thing you shared." And at
Mm-hmm.
that point, you would know that they did not hear everything else you said.
And it's gonna be so much harder to do. So, and hopefully, sorry for running away. Hopefully, you didn't hear the lawnmower that
No,
just decided to jump by the window, right?
no, I didn't, man.
All
So
right.
there's a bunch around, obviously, this observation section and making sure we're connecting to the homeowner. But
Mm-hmm.
again, tying that back to the big starting point here, getting over this fear of it, making sure that we stick to our options, stick to our offer in every case. Because guess what? There's one thing is for sure. If this is a case of you being the mobile doctor and you're going house to house and you're changing your process based on the homeowner's attitude, the homeowner's energy, the
Mm-hmm.
homeowner thinking what they need best from you, then you'll never have a consistent business. You'll never experience consistent sales, and so you'll never be a scalable operation. And I'm sorry if
Mm-hmm.
that's a dagger that hits right in the heart, you guys. I say that from a place of caring and trying to help influence you guys to all do better than you're doing today or yesterday or the day before. Is that fair of me to say, Joe?
I really think it is. It's one of those things where if we're not always in that mindset of how can we truly make sure that we understand someone, not just hear them, how can we understand their pain points, their directions, their needs? Only then will we be able to offer that on code option that they can say, wow, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
When it solves their problems, then what happens?
If it solves their problems, this is actually the funny thing because I've had these situations happen in the field where the customer comes by and it's a trip GFI and you're thinking, what the fuck am I going to do with this? And then when you find out their needs, you're like, oh, wait, you mentioned you needed a generator. Why? Like, why would you need a generator? And then as they're going through, eventually they're like, yeah, that's actually what we're needing today. GFI is going to be included, right? Yes, that's going to be included. Awesome. And then they end up moving forward something else because we listened. Opportunities show up when you're willing to look for them, but you don't look with your eyes. You look with your ears. You look with your intentions. When you're truly reaching out with everything you are to connect with someone, you will land on something. And that something's always going to be better than if you just kept your head down.
Absolutely. So this week so far, we've covered that one choice is no choice at all. That's the ultimatum, right? We've
Amen.
gone through that. We've covered why three options even leaves us some lacking there. There's gaps
Mhm.
between those prices. There are things that don't get addressed between the good, better, and best.
Mhm.
That rhymed. I'm a poet. I didn't even know it, Joe. We've definitely, again, pumped up the 6 options. And today, again, this action piece being the 6 option secrets. All you need to do is type anywhere on the group or on this post or on our website at serviceloopelectrical.com with the contact form there, 6 option secrets, and we can send that over to you guys to help you out. Now, Joe, why do we give this stuff away?
Why are we giving it away? I mean, other than just we enjoy having people tell us that we're crazy for giving it away.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's got to be some benefit, but realistically, why? Because we're trying to change an industry that goes beyond just a friend base. We know this information will help. We really, truly feel that there is not enough support in the industry for electricians. We didn't have it when we started. We want to be the people we wish we could have had. And not everyone will hire us. But we know that the information is out there that is so fucking good that if you just listen to it and try to apply it, you will see wins. So if we can help just one more electrician every single day, this mission will have been worth it.
Absolutely. Currently, we have just about 20,000 downloads on the podcast. And honestly, on just a couple of hands, we have evidence of the freemium followers bringing wins back to us. We know this stuff works because on the inside track, it's working every day, every week. And we've amassed over $1 million in wins. And this year alone, just reported wins from our current clientele. We know that you can listen to this podcast, take what we've given you today, turn around, become the doctor in your area, and go and serve homeowners like they need to be served. We know it's ethical because before there was a home service electrician, there were just construction and projectized electrical businesses who were losing their shirts on every home service call. And so what would they do, Joe?
They would get in and get out. Reset the breaker, 150, let's go.
And then the client's sitting there going, why are you charging me your full hourly rate when you were here for 20, 25 minutes?
And you were
Arguing
talking for
about the
20 of
half
them.
hour charge. And then the construction company's going, yeah, but we don't make any money if we don't charge the full hour because gas costs, well, in Canada, $2 a liter, about $8 a gallon right now.
Yeah, gas is insane. It is an absolute insane thing.
Plus the wages for good staff these days, that's not cheap. If you want to keep people, you've got to pay them well, you've got to treat them well. So everything's adding up to a homeowner that called a construction company that did not want to serve them in the first place. So maybe they don't even answer, maybe they don't get back to them. The point of this whole rally is to say this is important what we do. Home service electricians are necessary. They are needed. This is an ethical push to help homeowners receive the level of service that they deserve. Because if we didn't rise to this occasion, there's going to be more families impacted, more home fires, more unsafe conditions, more situations even where when the power goes out, there's no battery backup lights to get to your manual transfer switch, your generator. More situations where people install a hot tub and there's no lit path to get to it. I'm telling you, all of these things lead back to safety concerns and really services, electrical equipment that's been installed for 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years that does not deserve to be there still running. And that situation is in every town across North America, nay, the world. And it's time to do something about that. It's
And
time
honestly,
to rally
Clay,
behind that.
I could not have asked to serve this mission with anyone other than yourself. I'm so grateful to be on this by your side through this. And I just know that what we're doing is going to help the industry. And I can't wait to see what it looks like in a year from now.
100%. Action item for the day, Joe. I appreciate
All
that.
right.
And it's mutual, by the way. Sorry, I
Thank
was
you.
already on the next thing here.
No, it's all good. I was going to say, so as far as action items go, when people say stick to your offer, that's the easiest possible thing you can do. Just, hey, don't budge, stick to it. But I want to go even lower than that, like base level of what you can do. If you believe that what you're doing is in the best interest of the customer, why would you not offer it to them? Right? Like just the other day, I was on a Facebook group and someone posted about a light fixture from a 1939 house that had all brittle wire. It was all aluminum. It was all torn apart. It had no brittle. It was terrible. And the question was, how can I charge her more than, how do I tell her I need to charge more than $95 to address this? And the thing is that he knew after talking to him, I was like, you know, this isn't the right way of doing it, right? He's like, I know that, but I don't know how to communicate it. So what I'm trying to say by all this is this. If you believe and you know that I need to do a rewire, at the very least, be willing to offer it and be able to tell the customer why. If you can explain, I'm doing this for you because, just that framework alone, I am doing this for you because, you will find that more customers will favorably look at your options compared to feeling that you're just looking to get an extra buck on them.
Definitely. Definitely. And we've seen the evidence, right? If you just stick to it, if you just learn to have that process and stick to it, you will succeed at a higher level. You will be helping people at a higher level. And if you need help with that, all you need to do is reach out and grab this value piece today, the 6 option secrets. That's your Wednesday's all-star action, because that piece is going to help you also begin to visualize and see some of these wins that we're seeing on the inside, where people offer and stick to their offer every time, Joe. This has been episode 131, STYO the second. Stick to your offer, but stick to your options today, guys. Joe, I want to thank you so much. We're just a couple of master electricians with business addictions, helping you master your sales, simplify your pricing, and deliver premium level service. I can't wait to see you guys again tomorrow on Thursday's episode.
Y'all take care.